Hello pilot, can you ever imagine if you have to fly in this kind of weather? So this is foggy day. Here we are in the morning at Winchester Airport, Virginia. That's why you're gonna need instrument rating. So why do we need instrument rating? Because somehow we never know when you go travel to somewhere else, the airport that you want to go, and suddenly the weather become like this. In this video, we're gonna talk about the IFR regulation for the airport. So we know that we have VFR, marginal VFR, IFR and low IFR airport, and what kind of limitation that the airport will change from VFR to IFR. On the other hand, we're going to learn about how if you fly to a non-tower airport without instrument approach procedures and suddenly you get trapped into this kind of weather, what is the strategy and what you have to do as pilot in command. So let's enjoy this video. Now we're going to talk about what people always forgetting. Mostly they're going to mix up these two informations about the weather minimums. And this either will be a fail items or it's going to be a debrief items on your check ride. Private pilot, commercial check ride, or we also going to talk about how if you go to some airports without instrument approach procedures and you know the weather is way below VFR minimums, what you're going to do. And this can lead you into an IFR check ride failure. So let's talk about why people keep confusing about the minimum weather for VFR, which is regulated in 91.155 versus the categorical outlook for an airport. So when you see me standing in Winchester Airport with the foggy condition, limited visibility, so the examiner is going to ask you how to depart VFR from an airport within class B, C, D, or E. What is the weather minimums? 90% the students will answer, well, I'm gonna maintain 3 static mile visibility, 1,000 feet above the cloud, 500 feet below the cloud, and 2,000 feet horizontal. This become like a common answer for everybody, which is they normally revert to 91.155. That's a basic VFR weather minimums. But the problem is they didn't realize that the examiner is not asking about that. The examiner is asking about 91.155 C and D, which is how we can go out from the airport with the minimum ceiling and visibility. And the answer is we need to have 3 static mile visibility and 1,000 feet ceiling. Now, the airport has 4 categories. First is complete VFR, which is categorized by the green color. The second one is a marginal VFR, which is categorized by the blue color, and then IFR with the red color. Then finally, this is the worst, the magenta color, which is that a low IFR. The green is pretty easy to understand, which is you get more than 5 static mile visibility than more than 3,000 feet ceiling. Now, the marginal VFR is pretty simple. If you get a blue indicator in your ForeFlight or Garmin Pilot, you know the number is 1335. 1 to 3, it means 1,000 to 3,000 feet ceiling, and 3 to 5, it means 3 static mile until 5 static mile visibility. That's the ingredients of the airport to become marginal VFR. That's why in 91.155 C and D, they're talking about what is the VFR weather minimum for the airport, not for the cloud separation, for the airport to depart VFR. So having said that, the easiest way to remember is you need to take a look what is the minimums for marginal VFR at the airport, which is 1,000 feet ceiling and 3 static mile visibility. So now you understand what's the difference between the basic VFR weather minimums for the cloud separation versus the categorical outlook for an airport to be categorized whether it's VFR, low IFR, IFR, or marginal VFR. Remember the color, green, blue, red, and magenta. So now you understand when the examiner gonna ask you during the oral exam or private or commercial, what is the minimum VFR weather to depart from an airport, your answer will be 3 static mile visibility and 1,000 feet ceiling. Now, there is another regulation, 91.157. We're talking about the spatial VFR. Now, the spatial VFR, you can depart from the airport with the spatial VFR with 1 static mile visibility and clear of clouds. Some airports, they're not allow you to depart spatial VFR, and they're gonna put a note there, no spatial VFR or no SVFR. It means you cannot depart with the spatial VFR. Again, if you fly spatial VFR, the rules 3 static mile visibility and 1,000 feet ceiling doesn't apply. Now it's gonna change into 1 set of mile visibility and clear of clouds. So what's the meaning of clear of clouds? Probably you will have the foggy days like whatever I had in Winchester Airport. No clouds but restricted visibility. You can still depart under Part 91 operation with 1 set of mile visibility and clear of clouds. No clouds, but you got a very restricted visibility, okay? Flying special VFR at night, you need to comply with instrument. Your airplane must be instrument qualified and you are instrument rated pilot. Now let's talk about instrument check ride oral. The examiner can ask you when you can descend below the MEA, proceeding to the approach to an airport without control tower to an airport without instrument approach procedures. That make you a double troubles because you don't have tower to guide you and you don't have instrument approach procedures. Along the way, you're gonna talk with the ATC, which is that approach control. Failure to answer this will cause a check ride disapproval. Now, I'm gonna give you 2 answers that probably your examiner gonna accept with a smile. First, you can only descend below the MEA to an airport without instrument approach procedures if you have VFR condition, or you can see the airport from whatever the cruising altitude you have. At least you can maintain the visual with the ground area and you know for sure you can land to the airport in the VFR condition. And number 2, if that happened, you really need to file an alternate because you're flying to an airport without instrument approach procedures. Legally, you need to have an alternate. Remember the alternate regulation, right? 1, 2, 3 rules. 1 hour before and after ETA, if the ceiling less than 2,000 and visibility less than 3 statute mile, you need to file an alternate if the airport has instrument approach procedures. But when the airport has no instrument approach procedures, you need to always file an alternate airport. Well, that's it. So the weather briefing, understanding about the chart, knowing about the forecast for the next 4 hours, the weather trend is really critical when you're flying in the general aviation or even you're flying in a big jet like this. Weather understanding will save your life. So study more about the weather and make you better flight planning. You will become a safer pilot. Well, today we just learned how to differentiate the VFR airport versus IFR or even low IFR. That's why instrument rating is very, very important for you, even though you never have a plan to fly in this kind of weather, but the instrument rating will be like an insurance for all pilots. In 14-day Pilot Flight Academy, we offer you immersive 10 days accelerated instrument rating program in our airplane, or we can visit your airplane and we're gonna do training in your airplane. So contact our Flight Academy and I'm gonna come with you, fly with you, and make you safer and better pilot in instrument flying. See you soon.